Hello, everyone, and welcome to the StreamKick Podcast. Happy to have you all here and very excited for tonight's show. There is a ton going on right now, and we have lined up some really great topics for the show. As usual, tonight, I am joined by the man whose horns have never been used as an ancient Chinese medicinal, RoboKast.
Well, what's up, guys? What's going on?
Good to have you, as always. Also, tonight, we have the man who's never met a yellow shirt that he didn't like, RoboKast.
Dude, I kind of thought that one was going to be me because I'm wearing a yellow shirt. That's crazy.
That's the hard-hitting insight.
Wow.
That's why you're on the show.
Just
and
for
finally,
yellow
as
shirts.
always, we're joined by the guy that looks forward to the next Windows update, StreamKick Community Manager Ace.
I think I'm on my fourth Windows update this week, apparently.
Fourth of the week, third of the day.
I think I have like a bootleg Windows. Actually, I do have a bootleg Windows, but
I don't think you're supposed to say that on stream.
no. Okay, cut that part out.
I'm pretty sure that's
Oh,
TOS.
FBI is about to be knocking on your door.
Yep. Turn that camera off. They'll never know who it was. Anyway, guys, we do have there is just a ton of stuff going on this week. And so it was actually kind of difficult to figure out the top three stories. But I think we have three. No, I know we have three incredible stories to talk about tonight. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. So I want to start off talking about Streamlabs. Streamlabs announced this week that they are actually launching a multi-platform streaming tool in their suite of products. So this is pretty interesting because it wasn't. It was for the longest time people were using like Restream.io and services like. Actually, I don't even know if there's other services. I mean, how many restreaming services do you actually need, right? Streamlabs decided, you know what, you need at least two. So now they're rolling it out. And essentially what this will do at launch is it will allow any streamer who's using Streamlabs OBS or SLOBS as the beautiful acronym kind of rolls off the tongue. You'll be able to broadcast simultaneously across Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook gaming. That's kind of where they're starting. So Restream has them beat in that. I think you can restream across like 17 or something odd different platforms. But Streamlabs saying, no, we're gonna crawl, walk, run this. We're gonna start with Twitch. We'll go to YouTube, and we'll have Facebook gaming. Feature is only going to be available to Streamlabs Prime members. I didn't even know that was the thing, so I learned that from this. A service which runs a modest $12 a month, so not bad. So for the folks on the podcast right now that stream, so that's Robo and Ace, are you guys using Streamlabs? And if so, are you using Streamlabs Prime?
Well, honestly, I'm pretty new to streaming. So I am using Streamlabs, but I'm not using Prime. The only benefits that I've seen, I haven't looked into it, but from what I've seen from the start, it just looks like there's a bunch of like templates for like better looking donation alerts and like better, maybe some overlays and stuff like that, which I don't really have any use for. I mean, I don't even have an overlay on my stream. I just literally stream and that's it. But no, I'm not using it.
What about you, Ace? You're using like old school OBS, right? I don't think you use SLOBS.
Yeah, I've just been using classic OBS 64-bit.
There you go.
But I do have a lot of friends who use SLOBS. None of which do have SLOBS Prime, but
yeah, I'd be curious to kind of see like how many people actually use that. I don't think Streamlabs is ever going to tell us that, but anyway, we're using it right now. We're streaming this right now, and we're using SLOBS, and so far it seems pretty simple to use. So all good so far here. I want to talk a little bit more about the importance here of actually spreading out content. So we've seen just this year, we actually talked about it a bunch on the show, a lot of streamers and others who've had some issues with being deplatformed or just mysteriously having their platform pulled out from under them for no reason. That's been happening. Just issues like that, right? And it highlights this notion of like, how do you really want to go all in on one platform? Do you want to be spread out a little bit more? And Robo, I know you've kind of been dealing with that, and not that you've been deplatformed, but in the sense that you built up and created this awesome community on YouTube, and now you're looking at streaming on YouTube, which is a different thing. It is a different audience. I'm curious, how do you see it from a creator standpoint? How important is it for for creators to start spreading out, just getting their content in more places?
I mean, I probably look at it a little bit differently from most people, but here's the way I see it. if you're trying to grow, stay on one platform. If you're spread out all over the place and, streaming one day a week on this platform and one day on this and YouTube videos on this, you're not going to grow in any of them. And it's just going to be a waste of time and a lot of hassle for no reason. I do see the benefit, though, of a larger streamer, like, oh, maybe having 1 million subscribers. Now I'm going to go onto YouTube and make videos as well. I do see the advantages, but that's not something I'm doing at the moment. Like you said, I'm streaming on YouTube. I make videos on YouTube, and I do a lot of community posts on YouTube. I'm not really trying to go to Twitch. I'm not really trying to go to the Trovo or any of these other platforms anymore, because I want to strengthen the community that I do have instead of like separating it and spreading it out further. So it really depends on what you want to do. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of benefit in it, especially if you were to do like, still upload videos and keep everything on YouTube, but also have a Twitter, or also have a Facebook. I think it's important to have another way to communicate with people if something were to happen and your channel gets taken down.
Yeah.
But I don't think you necessarily need to be posting content on multiple platforms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you brought up a point that just got me thinking too. We had those guys on, those Mixer streamers on like a month ago or something, and something that they talked about was just the reason they enjoyed Mixer so much was because the community element there they just felt was better, right? It qualify better, however you want, but they just felt that it was better. I wonder, if you start trying to do this multi-stream thing, if you're going to run into some type of like dilution in the sense that you're going to be trying to do your thing in a bunch of different community types, and is it like an oil and water kind of thing at some point where certain communities just don't mesh as well, or I wonder, and I'm just thinking out loud here, I wonder if the streamer is a unifying enough factor that doesn't really play into it, and that the communities can just kind of blend and come together and everything's going to be fine.
I think it depends on your content type, because I just died right there. I often watch The Roots, which are like the band on one of the late night shows. And one of them, Questlove, he always streams music, just DJing. And he's streaming on multiple platforms. He's on YouTube, he's on Instagram, he's on Twitch. And for something like that, where he's not talking, he's just playing music, I don't think it really matters. People already know who The Roots are for the most part. People are there to listen to his music regardless. But if you're playing games, I would think it'd be a little bit different. I may be wrong, but if I'm playing games and I'm reading chat, how the heck are you going to read 5 different chats at the same time? First of all. Second of all, I feel like if you're doing something like that, which is much more competitive than music, because there's not a lot of people who make music streams right now, and there's not a lot of good ones. So something like that, it's more competitive. I don't think people are going to want to spread out, and then, none of your channels are going to be growing because you have 5 viewers here, 5 here, 5 here, and 5 here. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's really situational.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I feel like it's more, to me, it almost feels more like testing the waters kind of thing. I know, like with Restream, I think it consolidates your chat into like a single like mega chat or something. And I think you have the ability to break it out, but I don't know why you would want to, having that many platforms. But once the streamer's ready to kind of like level up, I think you mentioned this before, they really do need to kind of make a commitment at that point. So Ace, this one's for you, man. Do you think we'll ever see a day where there is this idea of a truly fluid streamer, and that they're not really loyal to any specific platform? They just kind of take their brand and just go where they want to go. They're like, I'm not an affiliate, I'm not a partner, I'm not any of that. I am, like, we're kind of seeing that with like Ninja right now to an extent, right? Like he goes to YouTube and gets a huge pop, and he goes to Twitch and he gets a huge pop, and he just came from Mixer and he got a huge, like, could this dude just say like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to be an affiliate or a partner anywhere. I really don't need that revenue right now. I'm just going to stream where I want to stream.
Yeah, I think we will be able to find like a really truly fluid streamer. Like you said, like a big name. It really has to be somebody who's grown their brand on such a exponential level on different platforms, and they already have experience building it on different platforms. I do think that that's going to become harder and harder to do as there's more and more people, more and more streamers, less viewers. So maybe we'll see a few of them, but it's not going to be a common concept by any means.
Yeah, I think you touched on the right point there. Is that they have it just got to be huge, or they have to have such a tight community, and I haven't really seen that too often. That the overall size isn't that big of a deal, and it's more just about how tight that community is with that individual streamer. Flipping it around a little bit, Rhino, if you're a streaming platform, how are you looking at this? Is this the kind of thing that actually creates an opportunity for you to be able to get more streamers long term, or does this just help everyone eventually become a Twitch streamer anyway? They build their following more quickly and they just break off.
Well, so I don't think the platforms are really thinking about it, because for all the reasons that Robo and Ace just identified, it's not a good long-term growth strategy. And 99% of all live streaming content are people that are trying to grow. So I don't think it's something that's going to, be something that's going to become commonplace. So I don't really think it's something that the platforms are concerned about.
Yeah,
But I do have another answer to a question that you didn't ask. So let me ask a question to myself. And that question is, if multi-streaming does not become popular, what could be something that becomes popular? Now, I'm going to tell you something.
Good question, Rhino.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. I mean, you might actually get a boner out of this. What if, rather than somebody focusing on multi-streaming to reach audiences or viewers from multiple platforms, what if they just stuck to one platform like they're going to end up doing anyway, and rather focus their efforts on utilizing a discovery engine that allowed them to promote themselves to viewers across multiple platforms? A platform agnostic discovery
That's a terrible
engine.
idea.
I think that's an amazing idea. Unbelievable idea.
It is an idea. It's just like how what did Nick Fury say? There was an idea.
What's in
and
your
it
wallet?
just stops right there.
Damn, nobody got my
different brand.
That's my prediction.
That was pretty good, and I didn't get any response from that.
No, it was good. Just the wrong brand, but yeah, he did say that.
Okay,
he did say that. Yeah. No, I think obviously I think that's a great idea. Someone should and probably is doing that, and probably will have an announcement about that in short order. But with streaming platforms beginning to start incorporating these streaming tools natively within the platforms themselves, like Twitch has Twitch Studio now. I think Facebook is doing something similar. I forget. YouTube's got their thing. Whatever. If the platforms are just starting to natively integrate tools like this anyway, platforms like Streamlabs are going to have to differentiate themselves somehow, right? So this specific case highlights an inherent issue in the streaming ecosystem, in that platforms are encouraging innovation. So Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, they're encouraging innovation, but then they take the best ideas and they just integrate them themselves, right? Amazon does that. Facebook does that. All these huge, like, I think Apple's under scrutiny for doing shit in the Apple Store that they shouldn't be doing, or that people think they shouldn't be doing, wherever you land on that. That's always a problem with tech and these big companies, is they create a thing and then they say, hey, we're going to create this ecosystem. We're going to give you all these cool tools you can develop. You can create extensions and widgets and all this stuff. Our app store, we have all these amazing things. Just go and create. It's wonderful. And we'll help you monetize along the way, right? They monetize, but the companies that monetize, it's pennies. It never really adds up to a ton. And then the tech company, the platform, is like, hey, you know what? That is a cool idea. I'll take that, right? That's mine now, and I'm going to do that. And when I do that, I'm going to turn yours off, and you're not going to be able to do it anymore. I feel like Streamlabs, Stream Elements, some of these other companies, I feel like they're headed in that direction, because Twitch isn't just going to be like, oh, we're just going to do Twitch Twitch Studio or whatever it's called. That's it. It's just real basic. If you just want to get started out, it's just real easy. It's just for starting out. It's not for people who are like advanced streamers or anything like that yet. It eventually becomes that. And then everyone's like, well, why do I need Streamlabs? Like, it's already built into Twitch. This is way easier. Why would I just do this? So I think this is sort of Streamlabs like testing that water a little bit to just like, do other things, do different things. But put my thoughts on that aside. Long term, how does a platform like Streamlabs account for something like this? And Rhino, I'll kick this to you again since you seem so passionate about this subject. A feature is a move in the right direction, but it's going to take more than a feature for them to weather this eventually, because I think that's where it's ultimately going.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. But so I guess I never really understood why is there a Streamlabs and a Stream Elements? Why do Twitch and Facebook and previously Mixer, why can't they just offer all the same services that a Streamlabs does or a Stream Elements does? What is the need for a third party? I never understood that.
I think,
well,
I feel like it stems down to, one, all the red tape in a company that big. I feel like it's a lot harder to actually get things done. So like, oh, we're going to host webinars that teach streamers, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a lot harder to do with that than with a smaller company. But I also think it has to do with like their purpose. Like Twitch's purpose is to make money. Streamlabs' purpose from the start has been to help streamers, to make the streaming process easier. Twitch doesn't really care how easy their streaming process is because they're still going to get the people who show up regardless. Like, what better option is there unless you want to go to Zuckerberg or China?
Yeah, but I mean, Stream Elements and Streamlabs, they're making money, right? I mean, they may say it's just to help streamers and for the community, but at the end of the day, Logitech didn't purchase them for what, 80 or $90 million because they were just
Fair
there
point.
as a community, to help a community.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you think about Twitch, which is Amazon or, Facebook, and the billions of dollars at their disposal, why didn't they just acquire Streamlabs? Why, instead of Logitech, and just kind of further corner their monopoly on the market? And as we've always said, the more features, the more discovery, the more just general automation and ease of use for whether you're a small or a large streamer. That's the platform that's going to prevail. So that is
what
fair,
I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they're doing now. I guess they're trying to roll something like that out. But Streamlabs and especially Stream Elements, though, a lot of their this is their main tool, is the stream setup thing. But as far as community and how they make money, they also make so much of that from the brand deals that they make. Like, they do a lot of partnering streamers and content creators with brands, and they do a lot of stuff along those lines with just kind of securing those things for smaller and growing streamers. So
but again, all that stuff that that's the same business model as Twitch. You would think it would be a natural fit. I think what we'll see from Stream Elements and Streamlabs is more stuff, more multi-platform stuff that would entice somebody to allow the flexibility to go from one platform to another should they choose, rather than something that one platform could just offer themselves, and then eliminate the need for Streamlabs or Stream Elements.
Who was it? Logitech? Why did Logitech buy them? Which one did they buy? It was Streamlabs, right?
Streamlabs.
Why did Logitech buy them?
Such a weird acquisition.
I think it was a natural, and I'm just talking out of my ass right now, but I think it was
it's hardware.
It was hardware, and it was a merger of hardware and software. That's essentially what it was.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
How did streamers go live 9-10 years ago? They just used OBS, right?
Yeah.
OBS has been around that
OBS.
Long? Or just like the default. Well, I don't know how long Elgato specifically is, but Elgato, like the HD360, and even further back models, like they have their own streaming software that's really easy, and it's very, very simple, and you just go live from there. So I'm guessing back in the day, there's just through those little devices.
Oh, like the HTP VR2, bro. I used to have one of those. It was terrible. It was so bad. I made like cringy Black Ops 2 montages, edited them in Windows Movie Maker. So top quality content.
I feel like those kind of montages were the only thing that you were allowed to make with that device anyway.
Oh, dude, I don't even know. I shouldn't have been on YouTube at all because my montages
Sounds
were
like all
terrible.
existed.
Dude, it was like
That's
one
all
kill.
existed back then.
Dude, they're still on YouTube, bro. I'd get like one kill, and then, like 5 minutes later,
montages?
I'd get another kill. Yeah, the original like OG montages from like 6 years ago.
That's all YouTube used to be. Like for the longest
True.
time, it was just montage videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know where Streamlabs ultimately lands in all of this, but I think it's interesting that they're trying to branch out. I just, you know, if I were leading that division in Logitech, I would certainly be looking at and questioning, you know, what I was going to do to diversify so that I just didn't get featured out by a platform or platforms. So I think that's something interesting they have to keep an eye on. And ultimately it's a good thing because it forces them to not be complacent. But in the long run, I mean, Streamlabs has done a lot of great stuff for the creators in the community. I think that, you know, all jokes aside, like they've been really good to a lot of people and have created some wonderful tools. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Speaking of things playing out, President Trump decided this week it would be a good idea to ban some more stuff. So he issued an executive order basically saying that things like TikTok and WeChat are no good and they need to go. So he issued an executive order that goes into effect, I believe September 20th is the official date. It's 45 days from the issue date of the order, whatever that is. That will make it illegal for Americans to transact with the Chinese company Tencent. So to understand the order, this is something he's doing specifically targeting a company because it is Chinese, number one. And number two, because in his belief, and many others share this belief, those platforms, TikTok and WeChat, are using, collecting and using their users' data, in this case, Americans' data, in a way that the government does not agree with. And many people don't agree with, actually. There have been some really interesting discussions about this. There was a Reddit thread like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, where a guy who earns his living by reverse engineering popular mobile applications, reverse engineered TikTok. I think it was TikTok. And basically he was just like, this thing is bad for anyone using it. He said, no one should be using this thing. And that was kind of like, I won't say that kicked things off, but that definitely accelerated kind of this whole discussion about these companies being bad. But here's the thing. Why are we talking about this? Well, because Tencent owns 100% of Riot Games. Tencent is the largest shareholder in Epic Games outside of Epic CEO Tim Sweeney. Epic, of course, makes Fortnite. And they have a very large stake in Supercell. I believe that's the mobile company that does like Clash Royale and things like that, which is say what you will, it is a hugely popular mobile game. Makes that company a shit ton of money. Now, the White House clarified shortly thereafter that the ban does not affect video games or video game derived income for Tencent. However, we all know how these things go. This administration, of course, has been anything but what you would call predictable in a lot of ways. So it's really hard to say if what they're saying today is what they're going to do tomorrow. So suppose for a minute, let's play hypotheticals here. Suppose for a minute, the pain that they inflict on Tencent via WeChat is not bad enough. Where do they turn next? What's the next thing that they do? All right. If they really want to go for their money, where are they going to go? I mean, we know how much money Riot Games makes off of League of Legends. We know how much money Epic is making off of Fortnite. I mean, this is big money. So if the White House really wanted to hurt them, this is where they would probably go. So politically speaking, this is majorly alienating the gaming voting demographic for the president on two angles, from a social media standpoint and, of course, potentially from a gaming standpoint. So I kind of want to kick this one out to the group. What are the implications of something like this for a new platform like Trovo which is just breaking out into the US market, but also happens to be owned by Tencent. Where do you go if you're Trovo?
I know if I'm
Well,
on Trovo, I would be bailing, but
You would be off
go
Trovo.
Oh, I would. That's my short and sweet point. But Ari,
well, I was just gonna say a lot of the people on Trovo are mobile game users, so there's kind of an overlap there, which means it's like a double get the fuck off of that platform, as far as I'm concerned, because they're streaming on a platform that we do not know the fate of and is already very skeptical. But yeah, I would get off of that as well. I'm with Robo.
I think honestly though that I feel like this is the uh damn what the catalyst. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. This is the catalyst for something much bigger. I don't think it really stems down to America or China or India or wherever the hell companies are located. I think this is a bad sign that what we could call the global internet is about to be split up. Because I've always looked at the internet, and pretty much I think most of the world has, where it's like American internet and like Chinese internet. But for the most part, other than like the restrictions in China and maybe in some other countries like that, pretty much anybody anywhere can access anything on the internet, right?
Mhm.
I think this is a very bad sign for something much bigger. That within the next 20 or 30 years, if this continues down this path, we're going to see a localized internet almost, where this is a social media website for the United Kingdom, and this social media website's for the United States. And I feel like it's just going to create this really weird dynamic that almost contradicts the entire purpose of the internet to begin with.
Where you basically have like a borderless community that now the borders are virtual borders that just reflect geographical borders, right? It's just a virtual representation of the planet at that point.
Yeah, and I really don't know how I feel about that. Think about hypothetically, I'm not going to go down this wormhole, but hypothetically, let's say this progresses further and it turns into, in multiple locations around the world, these people are banned from this, these people are banned from this, and all this other crap, right? Well, if you run like a global, like e-commerce website, and next thing you know, people say we have tensions with, I don't know, the UK. Never happened, but whatever. Say we have tension with this company or with this country. Well, then guess what? Now people from this country aren't going to be able to buy your product. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that, but it just creates this whole mess that I really hope can turn around before it becomes something much worse.
Yeah, I could see that. I think if that were to happen, I think it would be a lot shorter than a 20 to 30 year window.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you'd be looking at more like probably a 10-year at the most before we started to see that. I mean, weren't a lot of people worried about that in terms of the whole like net neutrality thing the last few years? Like, wasn't that one of the things they were saying was that a free and democratic internet, if you want to call it that, would be anything but that. It would just be a metered system, a pay as you go, pick and choose services like shitty cable television
like,
type thing.
Is internet a service or utility? I guess is the
right.
I mean,
the bigger question.
Is there not some sort of international, again, different topic, but is there not some sort of like internationally agreed upon standard for like how the internet's treated? Because, there's like ocean standards, like, however many miles offshore, this is yours. How does that work with internet? Can a country own part of the internet, or is it like open?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I don't know exactly how that works, but I would imagine that if the physical hardware and infrastructure was within your borders, then it belongs to you. And then whoever runs those cables, because I mean, well, I don't know if everyone knows this, but the internet doesn't just magically fly from the United States to Japan. There are actual cables underwater that go all the way across and connect. Whoever deploys the cable, do they own it? Like, I don't know how that works, right? But at any point, I guess if traffic is passing through hardware that's within your border, then you do whatever you want, right? Like, aren't we seeing that right now in where is it? Is it Belarus? where they're having the protests right now, and the Belarusian government just said, "Fuck it, internet's turned off in our country, just done."
Yeah. But
Like,
so like
imagine that.
so with this situation with the whole TikTok and potentially Riot Games thing, are they banning access to the service or the ability to pay for the service, like in-app purchases, or like you literally cannot download the app on the App Store anymore?
I don't think it'll be there. I don't think it'll be in the App Store.
So the
Yeah.
whole app is so this stems down to even a bigger problem where I'm not getting political, but I don't think the government should control what we can and can't consume. Isn't that something in the Constitution? I mean, not specifically, but isn't that basically? I'm sure it has to be something that relates to that in the Constitution, not specifically to internet, but like maybe not. I don't know. I just I don't get it.
I think the argument here isn't so much that I think what they're trying to get at is they don't want people to use the app. They're making it illegal to transact with a company. TikTok, I think they're just straight up banning. I think TikTok, they're just saying like, this app is gone. It's a national security threat. It's gone. WeChat, they're not saying you can't use it. They're just saying that it is illegal for you to transact on this platform. So my thought would be that if you're a company that maintains, if you're Apple, for instance, okay, and you maintain a marketplace where people can download that app and that app facilitates transactions, then you, Apple, I'm speculating here, are in one way liable for that because you're making it like, it's really muddy, right? Like, how do you do that without just banning it? Like, who's actually responsible if someone does download it and then transact? Because WeChat's not just gonna be like, oh, we'll just take away the ability to make money off of Americans, but we'll leave our app up, right? So yeah, I don't know. Pivoting back into games and the subject of the podcast, if you're a developer like Riot or Epic, and this does spill over, what do you do? Like, how do you? All of a sudden, the government says, you know what, League of Legends, you no more microtransactions in the United States. Fortnite, no more microtransactions.
What would be stopping them from, let's say, selling the rights to League of Legends to an American company and then retaining a smaller, like, let's say Riot Games owns 100% of League. They sell it to, I don't know, Activision, EA, I don't know. They sell it to an American company and then they retain a small portion of it. Wouldn't that, like, instead of them owning the game, they could just have EA pay them royalties or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can always trace the money back though if they're getting paid anything out of that deal. Like, it would have to be like a charity, right? Like, yeah, there's, I don't know how they would do that. I mean, they're doing this. They're doing almost exactly what you just described right there with friggin' TikTok right now. Microsoft. Like, what the fuck? Microsoft is buying TikTok. And the president, the White House, is saying like, cool, you can buy it maybe, but all this other shit needs to be out of it. You can't have any connections to the Chinese, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, to me this looks like just has some shit written all over it, and it's not going to be good. I don't know, Rhino, what do you think? You're Tim Sweeney, you're the CEO of Epic Games. Congratulations, you've been promoted. What do you do? First day on the job, you've been banned.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd panic.
I would hire Barty Bird to launder my money.
Yeah, I mean,
call some.
I think you have to, before you can speculate on a solution, you really have to understand what the limitations and the options are. Like we just said, like, what do you sell the company? Can you retain rights? Can you, is the app going to be removed forever? Or is the game going to be banned? I think there's so many different variables that right now what exists is just some very vague threats. And I think you could just speculate all day on how it will evolve and what the solutions could be, which I don't think our podcast is long enough for that. So
different question.
I'm just going to defer to say I don't have all the facts.
Such a fucking corporate answer. All right, different question. This is one that you can answer. You're a game company. You're doing modestly decent, and Chinese company says, hey, we want to invest. We want to own 45% of your company. Do you take it? Knowing what could happen?
I would definitely not take it. I would not take it.
there you have it.
Well, that's not just gaming specific though. Like that's like every company ever. If this is like, and it will come down to the roots of like the foundation of what the issue actually is, whether they care about whether just the fact that it's China or a particular country that has the rights to the information, or whether it's like specifically the information, what the information is that they have. Because I mean, I remember seeing a couple months back all the things that TikTok has the rights to on your phone, like all the things that TikTok gets when you sign up on, and that's crazy. And if that's the issue, then, that's not as big of a deal for companies all over the place, as much as it is if it's China, or if it's, the fact that they specifically have the information. And then if you're a developer or a company or a platform, then you should start to worry. But
and TikTok is just like the ultimate irony of social media too.
Right.
It's literally just like someone took Vine, necroed it, raised it from the dead, rebranded it, and it's like, oh, it's popular again.
Filled it with
like what
11-year-olds.
Yeah, like what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. Some of that shit I don't understand, but from a streaming standpoint, something else to consider though is that if those microtransactions are banned, creators who use creator codes in those games, that's a that could be a decent chunk of their income just wiped out right away. Not only because the codes are useless, but also just because fewer people are going to be playing the games. Right. So if you're a streamer and you benefit from that revenue today, right? Knowing that these games are safe for the moment, but also again knowing the history that this administration has, are you looking to? We'll get back to that diversity question or diversification question, Ace. Like, I don't know, man. I'd be like not so confident in my creator codes at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, and not just creator codes. Like people use TikTok. Like that's a very prevalent platform for creators in and out of the esports streaming industry. That just that whole association, is questionable and suspect now. But creator codes too, specifically for sure.
Yeah, and TikTok's been a pretty cool discovery tool too. I know I was talking to somebody today and they were asking about that, and just sort of just how TikTok works in general. And it's like it's very much just sort of a spray and pray type of thing. It's just get content in front of as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, as they're scrolling, and just what sticks. And I could see how if you were a streamer and you were utilizing that platform, how you actually could, in theory, potentially find viewers that way if you were using the platform correctly.
I mean, it's definitely the easiest place to go viral. I mean, getting one video out of your hundreds on TikTok to go viral is, not as hard as it could or should be.
Do you think numbers are inflated on TikTok though? I honestly kind of do, because I've seen people with like insane amounts of views on their videos, 50 million views, and they have like 1.1 million likes or something. I feel like numbers on TikTok could so easily be inflated that
that's just I mean, I don't think it's inflated just because that's the name of the game of TikTok. People just sit there and swipe video after video after video without engaging. Like True. I mean, I could pick out a couple of friends that can, before they go to bed, they'll sit on TikTok for an hour or 2 hours and literally just swipe through that shit. So I don't know.
Does that count as a view?
Yeah.
Wait,
so I have a quick question, not to go back into the other side of this, but do you know if this whole ban thing has to do with the monetary aspect or the data aspect? Because I find it weird that they're, limiting transactions instead of just focusing more on like, hey, you can't take this data.
Right. That's what I thought was weird.
Yeah, I think the rationale has to do with how much data, what kind of data, and then what they're potentially doing with the data, because no one really knows what they're doing with it outside of the platform, right? And I think that's what's concerning. But no one knows what anybody's doing with that shit. Like they're literally calling, who was it? They had Tim Cook,
Google,
what's his face?
Bezos,
yeah,
and someone, and who's the other guy?
Zuckerberg.
Oh,
Zuckerberg,
my guy.
Yeah, your buddy. Yeah. So, by the way, all huge listeners of the podcast, open invitation. Anytime you guys want to come on.
Not Zuckerberg though. You suck.
Oh well, we'll do a one-on-one, buddy. It's all right. Don't let Robo scare you away. But anyway, the not the White House, the Congress called these guys in and said like, hey, like, explain this shit. What are you doing with this? And they still just get these half-baked, rhino paws corporate-esque answers that don't fucking, you're just like, oh, I don't know what that guy just said.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. So like, yeah, to answer your question, they say it's data, but they're hitting at the revenue piece, because ultimately if they take that away, what's the incentive to have the app anymore?
Yeah, but also I think this is honestly, I think a lot of blame should be placed on Apple. Why is Apple allowing an app that copies your clipboard, your freaking front camera, your mom's address, and your social security number? Why are they allowing that on their app store? They should do more diligence with what they allow on their apps. Because if they're allowing a huge company that everybody knows about to take all this data, could you imagine what some of these like sketchy developers are putting onto the app store in the hopes that somebody downloads?
But the thing is I also think there's a lot of apps that use this exact same data, and whether or not we know it directly, or whether or not it's a issue that we're debating today, there's so many apps that do this, and it's just, I think the fact that it's China and the fact that it's TikTok, that it's so prevalent, and
we have those trade tensions going on.
Yeah, and it's an election cycle, so there's that.
Election cycle has a lot to do with it, yes, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets ratcheted up here in the next like 30 to 60 days and becomes like a real hot button item. I mean, Trump campaigned heavily on being heavy-handed with China. So that doesn't surprise me in the slightest that he's looking to appeal to his base specifically on that same program, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, that was awesome. Listen, that conversation is definitely it is over for tonight, but it's not over probably for this show, because I think there's going to be more to come from this, as we alluded to tonight. But now we're getting into
a serious topic,
the meat of the show. Chipotle has partnered with our good friend Tony Hawk to release a limited time burrito that gives you video game demo codes. How fucking
this
cool
is why I'm on the podcast. I don't care about any of that other garbage.
Do they like for the Tony Hawk burrito codes in the burrito? Is that
they just put in a piece of paper and stick it in?
Exactly. If you like took a bite, it's like a fortune cookie. It's like, okay, 3.
It's actually they're printed on a little piece of plastic so that they're sterile. So yeah. Anyway, so if you go to Chipotle, it's live today, Robo. Like they're doing it now.
I think it was started a day or two ago.
Okay, so if you go to Chipotle, you can purchase the aptly named Tony Hawk burrito. I'm assuming it's just chicken, since it's a bird in the name, or not? Or
it's chicken. It's chicken.
It's just chicken.
Guac, rice, and it's like literally a normal burrito, like a normal person would order.
Okay. You get a demo code for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remaster, which say what you will, I think you're a skater fan, right? Isn't that your skateboarding game of choice?
Oh yeah,
Robo, isn't that the one you like? Tony Hawk was the shit.
Oh my
god, when
that
game
dude.
came out, that game was so friggin' good. Anyway, the promotion runs through August 14th, and the first 2,000 people who order one will get one of the codes. Is that 2,000 per store? It has to be, right? It can't be.
Yeah, there's no way. The 2,000 is like one store's capacity in a day.
Yeah, I feel like Tony's hometown Chipotle is just gonna like go and just like mass order all these burritos. But yeah, this could be potentially really huge for video game marketing. We're starting to see a lot of non-endemic brands get more involved. I know Ace is shaking his head because he follows the esports scene so closely, and that has been a big thing for that scene, is how do we get companies that aren't Logitech, that aren't Corsair, that aren't HyperX, how do we get these companies to be involved in our industry, in our sport, in our streams, because they have big money. They want to get at this demographic. They got to find a way to do it. This to me seems like a natural fit. It's more and more popular than it's ever been before. This is just a cool way to kind of do this, to do this integration. But I want to kick this question over to Ace for a minute. I mean, where do you see, or rather, why do you think that connection between food and video games is huge? I mean, that if you go, we were at TwitchCon, and Rhino, you can attest to this. We were at TwitchCon last year. They had a fucking Cup of Noodle had a booth there. Remember that? You could walk up to Cup of Noodle and the booth looked it was just the Cup of Noodle logo and like their color scheme. It was nothing fancy. And they had these women there who were dressed up in not like bikinis, but like hot pants or whatever, handing out fucking dry ramen noodles.
I ate so many noodles that day.
Those conventions, I'm not going to go on this rant, but those conventions like E3 and TwitchCon, they just like hire the most attractive girls. And then they're like, okay, how do we sell our product? Just get some girls to stand over there. Next thing you know, it works because there's a line of 5 billion people at the Bang Energy booth. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. The Bang booth. Oh, Jesus. I almost said the Bang booth. Anyways. Talk about non-endemic. So anyway, why the connection between food and games, man? What's driving this?
Gamers were stereotypically fat. I think that's it. People think of a gamer. Hey, look, I mean, we're all very
I'm going to Chipotle because I'm healthy.
But I think it goes, I mean, you think all the way back, like Nintendo cereal, or even just going to the arcade and like getting a slice of pizza. It's like when you're imagining the gamer, the stereotypical gamer, you're imagining them at their computer with a bag of chips, just shoving food in their mouth. If you go on like Twitter,
wait, who the fuck imagines this?
Dude,
what
I
do you mean?
That's not
what you. That's not the gamer stereotype. Go to Twitter, right, or any look up a GIF of a gamer, and that's what's gonna come up.
Epic MLG montages, bro. Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Anyways,
I feel like Ace is just he's playing Warzone, right? And some dude is just shitting on him, just absolutely dumpstering him, and all he can do is just imagine how obese this person is. He's just getting so fucking angry. Anyway, go ahead, finish.
No, that was it. I think that's it.
That was it.
Yeah,
that was very.
That's
very
what it goes
deep.
back to. Gamers. I mean, that has always been my stereotypical image of a gamer, and I think it's because of the memes. Like you look, I mean, you go to again Twitter, any social media, and you type in gamer, and that's what pops up. And
I mean, maybe that's why you see the brands that do it are always like the shittiest foods, like pizza rolls, Mountain Dew, Taco Bell giving away PlayStations. You don't see like, I don't know, like the healthy salad place down the street giving away codes to like
it's
The Last of Us.
That's a good choice. The healthy salad place and The Last of Us. It's fast. It won't kill you. Not immediately, right? And it's cheap.
right.
So I want to keep playing. I want to keep streaming, but I got to have food, right? So I'm going to go out. I'm going to get something that won't kill me, that's filling, that's inexpensive, that's fast, that tastes good. Boom, done, easy, right? That doesn't make me a bad person. It's just gamers are very efficient, you know?
I think
They're
there
gamers.
was a transition from I guess the transition was through energy drinks. I think that was what we saw more of first, energy drinks coming in, and like just caffeine products. I remember I bought like a one of those mystery boxes for video game boxes, and it came with like caffeine pills, like 3 different off-brand energy drinks, and just like a bunch of shit like that. Yeah.
That sounds like every lawyer's fucking dream right there. Like, where did you get the pills? Oh, they came in a mystery box I got from the internet. Wait, you paid for that?
Yeah, it's Boss Boxes. So,
Sounds like a
Holy shit.
scam website that Logan Paul would promote.
yeah.
So why don't Robo? This one's for you. Why don't these companies go a different route and try to promote alongside products like clothing and shoes instead? Why
Yeah.
games?
Honestly, I think that's going to change. Because the gaming, I'm a huge advocate for investing in gaming stocks, just because like as more people become middle class in other countries and as more people have more disposable income, people are always like, oh, let's invest in the industries that are always going to be there, like power and medicine. But dude, people want entertainment. Honestly, these days entertainment is a basic need, just like clothes, food, and money. Everybody has to be entertained. I think as this industry keeps growing, we're going to see a lot more. Like we just saw Ninja release a pair of shoes with Adidas.
Oh yeah, that was
That's a
cool.
huge step. Because when would you ever, 5-10 years ago, hear that a guy who plays esports and streams is going to be making a deal with Adidas, which is like, that's what athletes do. That's what, huge athletes do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that plus the fact that Drake was live streaming, all of that combined, plus all the growth in this industry is going to lead to some really unique things coming out. I think it's going to be a lot more in the apparel side. You see 100 Thieves coming out with their like clothing brand that people who don't even watch esports are like freaking out over. I think apparel is going to be the first topic or first type of product that's going to start being cross promoted with games. And I think from there, it could move on to just everyday items. Like start seeing like Old Spice and Call of Duty deodorant. Like I think that could be really cool, honestly. I think there's a lot of potential in brands partnering with other brands to market their products that aren't related. I think it's a super cool concept.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's something that ultimately has to happen. I mean, it's crucial for the industry. Like they have to have these things happening. And I mean, if it starts with food, if it starts with energy drinks, I mean, who really gives a shit? I mean, ultimately, it's just about getting the foot in the door and just getting some of these other companies involved. I think ultimately that's going to be the best thing for the industry. Question for you real quick, Rhino. I mean, do you think this is a good move, or do you think it's something that maybe they should explore doing in a different way, right? Maybe it's not sticking microchips in burritos or whatever. Maybe there's a different route to go, but personally, I think this is a really cool way to do it. I mean, everybody loves Chipotle. Chipotle is a lot of fun. Tony Hawk's a lot of fun. I mean, combine the two, it's a good deal. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good move. I mean, it's creative advertising for an industry that's continues to grow. So I think you certainly as an advertiser want to be on the forefront. I mean, I have nothing negative to say about advertising in either food or clothing. I think it's just something we're going to see a lot more of in the future.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I pointed out every episode, but during the pandemic, this is all amplified. There's not many other places that get the same viewership, the same involvement, the same just results that esports and streaming gets right now. So
yeah,
and Chipotle is always. I mean, I don't love Chipotle doing this because Chipotle is like they partner with every like high school club and every I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Robo. But
yeah, they do a lot of fundraising.
all the fundraising stuff, like every like field hockey team in the world partners.
Did you say you
Chipotle
don't like this?
No, I just think that Chipotle partnerships in general are just mean less to me just because it's Chipotle and I mean,
well, I think this one's a little different though, because
Right,
instead of
yeah.
just partnering and doing like a fundraiser, they're doing like an actual branded product.
Yeah, no, that's true for sure.
Yeah, that's an important distinction too, though. Is like it's not just like namesake, like we're partnering with you because you're Chipotle, we're partnering with you, Tony Hawk. It's how they actually go about doing it that makes it fun. I a while ago, I forget how long, it was like a year or two ago or whatever. I was watching Raynad. You guys know Raynad, streamer?
Mm-hmm.
Tempo Storm CEO. Anyway, I was watching him. He was playing Hearthstone back when Hearthstone streams were fucking awesome, and he had gotten was doing a sponsored podcast, a sponsored stream with Amazon Alexa, and so they sent him an Alexa, and they said, "Hey, here you go. No rules other than use Alexa." That was it, right? Just let him do what he does with his audience and just let it be, right? Took the Alexa, stuck it on the table behind him, and then all throughout his stream, he would say stuff. He'd be like, "Hey Alexa," and he would ask a question, and he always was good about like incorporating it into the stream and doing it like that. I thought that was great, rather than, "Hey Raynad, here's an Alexa. We want you to sit it on your desk, have it positioned in a certain way so that at least 60% of it is showing, to your audience for at least 90% of your uptime. And we need you to ask it, at least ask it these 3 questions. No fewer than, once every 2 hours each."
Dude, I hate that shit. It happens all the time to me with brands. It's annoying.
It happens. let's flip it though. Let's flip it to this to the brand standpoint. It happens because there's tons of times where they do stuff like that, and the creator is a shitbag, takes the product, doesn't do what they're supposed to do, and they have to create these rules around it just to make sure that it gets done correctly. I'm not saying that's always the case, but rules exist because somebody did some dumb shit and someone had to say, fuck, we got to have a rule for that.
See, I feel like it's a mix of that, but it's also a mix of, there's a lot of brands who are, or not necessarily brands, there's a lot of marketing agencies who are like diving into this realm of influencer marketing, and they're trying to use these traditional like big brand marketing ideas. Like, oh, if I'm going to put a Coca-Cola ad, I want this to be, done here. If I'm going to do this marketing campaign, this has to be done at this point. We want this to be the tone. We want this to be the image. But that's not how you do it with influencer marketing. You know what I mean? Like you can't force influencers to make something appear the way it's not. If somebody's watching you, they know what your personality's like. They know if you crack jokes about how bad Raid Shadow Legends is, and then 5 videos later, you're like, the most ambitious RPG of the year, Raid Shadow Legends. People pick up on that. And I feel like a lot of traditional marketing agencies think that consumers are stupid. And that like, oh, if we tell them our product's good, it's, everybody's going to get it. But people don't take into account the like personalities of the people promoting the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like you're wasting your money at that point. If you're not allowing them to have some creative license, creative freedom with how they want to do that, you're essentially, it's defeating the purpose. Why just make the fucking ad yourself at that point?
Yeah, for real.
So, all right, well, who plans to go get a Tony Hawk burrito before the 14th?
I'll do it.
I'm more of a Moe's guy.
It? Yeah, I think
right,
I think next week we all actually get the Tony Hawk burrito, and we eat it live here on the StreamKick Podcast.
ASMR eating podcast episode.
Yeah,
just watch 4 fat gamers chewing on chicken and guacamole for an hour.
Exactly.
Whoever finishes last wins.
Last.
Last. Yeah.
Anyway, that wraps up this show. Thank you, those of you who have listened so much for tuning in. We appreciate it week after week. Definitely hit us up with ratings and reviews wherever you find the podcast. It's very helpful. We appreciate it. On social, we are very easy to find on Twitter and Instagram at StreamKick Pod, StreamKick POD. On the web at streamkick.com, on Facebook at Watch StreamKick, and now on eFuse. Thank you, Matt Benson, for the wonderful interview we did with you last week at StreamKick as well. That's efuse.gg or efuse.io. Robo, where can you be found?
You can find me on YouTube, RoboKast, RoboKast, and the same name on Twitter.
And Ace, what about you, buddy?
Yes, on Twitter at Ace Aspires. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, and we will catch you on next week's show. Take care.